Ella es abogada, conoce el andar. Como inmigrante sabe lo que es luchar. Te guía en el proceso sin titubear. Tus sueños juntos van a despegar. Inmigrando con Kathia, luz en el camino. Una amiga, un faro, un buen destino. Esperanza y fuerza en cada paso con optimismo.
Hello and welcome to Immigration USA with Kathia. This is an immigration news show done by me, Kathia Quiros, an immigration lawyer in the United States, where I teach the law, I tell you about the news and how they impact the life of immigrants in the United States. So today I want to talk about several different news that are really important in this present moment because they affect the life of immigrants and their families in the United States. So if you are here with me, please share the news, help me help others. Okay, so let's start talking about DACA and what is going on with DACA right now in the United States. DACA, it's a special type of protection for dreamers, and dreamers are children, are people who came to the United States as children before June 15, 2007, and that in June 15, 2012, were allowed the opportunity to stay in the United States legally with an employment authorization and protected from deportation. This program was specifically for people who came to the United States as children through no fault of their own, who have remained in the United States because they've been raised here and this is all they know. So people have been here with this DACA program since 2012, and they've been renewing employment authorization since. Well, this was created by President Obama, and then President Trump came and tried to cancel it. And then President Biden came back and tried to keep it. And then President Trump came again. And so over the past many years, both sides of the political aisle have been fighting pro and against DACA. In the meantime, there has been a struggle in the courts because there have been several lawsuits for and against DACA. And right now we are in special predicament because after going back and forth all the way to the Supreme Court and backwards, right now there is a judge in Texas who has decided that DACA is illegal. And because this is a judge in Texas, this decision, it only applies to Texas. But the decision has not been final yet, and we are waiting for it to be final. And when that happens, people who are dreamers, who are undocumented immigrants who came before the age of 16, who have remained in the United States since without criminal records, with education in the United States, they won't be able anymore to renew their employment authorizations. However, if and when the decision becomes final, if the government allows for DACA to continue, then the people who are eligible for DACA will be able to obtain an employment authorization everywhere else but in Texas. So right now, there is a small group of dreamers who have employment authorizations through DACA, and there is another group of people who have their requirements, who have applied, but whose cases have not been reviewed because they've been in litigation for many years. So a lot of people who applied into 2020, 2021 applied in the hopes that they will get an employment authorization, but the judge decided to halt all these applications while the lawsuit was pending. The lawsuit has been pending for many years, and hopefully between this week and next week, we'll have an end to this litigation. When that happens, we hope that the government will start processing these applications. Now, why do I say we hope? because we don't have any guarantees from the government that it'll happen. We know that the government's position is that if DACA is allowed to continue, then these applications will be processed for everybody, but for the people who live in Texas. However, there is also the possibility that if the judge's decision becomes final, as soon as it becomes final, the government, President Trump's government, may decide to cancel DACA again. So we don't know what's going to happen. We don't have any communication from any announcement from the government of what is going to happen. We are waiting. In the past 2-3 days, there was a lot of turmoil because the government submitted a position paper, an essay to the court, where they said, well, if you issue your final order and we as a government decide to continue with DACA, then we're going to process these applications. However, if we decide to cancel DACA, we don't know, then things may be different. That's basically what the government said. So in essence, they didn't say much. Some people took it as, oh, the government is going to start processing new applications. That's not true, but that's how some of them took it. The truth is, right now, we are waiting to see what's going to happen. Now, in the meantime, and after reading this paper from the government, I would like to say this. I would like to tell everybody who is a dreamer, who has DACA, or would like to apply for DACA because they have the requirements. If that person is living in Texas, that person needs to move out of Texas immediately. And why do I say immediately? Well, mainly because in immigration, in order for a person to show that they are residing within any state, they have to show that they've been there for at least 90 days. So I wouldn't want for anybody to wait until the last minute to move and establish residency in another state. So if you could please help me share the information, it'll be of great help to many dreamers and who are currently living in Texas and who are waiting to see what's going to happen before they decide to move. It is time to move now. Now, if you are one of the people who applied for DACA and never received any results, you just have the receipt number, this is the perfect time to open your My USCIS account within the page of the webpage of uscis.gov, and make sure that your information is correct. Your email address, your phone number, and your address, because that is going to be very important in case the government decides to process your application. Okay? So that's all I'm going to say about DACA. We don't know more information, and as soon as we know more, I would let you know. Now, the second news that I want to talk about today, it's about the asylum. So as of today, the government will be charging $100 for any new asylum application in court or in the Office of Immigration. And as of today, the government should charge $100 to any person who has an asylum application pending with the Office of Immigration or with the Court of Immigration. So let me explain first the basis. Why is that you can apply for asylum with the Office of Immigration or with the Court of Immigration? Why are two different places? Where there are two different places? Well, it's very easy. There are two types of asylum. There is affirmative asylum and defensive asylum. Affirmative asylum, it's when you are inside the United States, either because you entered legally or you entered undocumented, whatever, but you are inside the United States and you are going to apply inside the United States with the Office of Immigration. Nobody is persecuting you. You are not in deportation proceedings. You are just inside the United States. You've been here less than 1 year and you want to apply for protection. That is called affirmative asylum. Now, what is defensive asylum? Defensive asylum is when you are in deportation proceedings, either because you tried to enter it undocumented or you turned yourself at the border and you ask for protection, or because you were inside the United States and ICE got a hold of you and put you in deportation proceedings. Deportation proceedings means that you will be sent to immigration court and you will have to see an immigration judge. And before this immigration judge, the government will accuse you of being removable, which means you are a person that we need to deport, and you will have to defend from those accusations. So one way to defend yourself is to ask for protection from the government in the form of asylum. That's why we call it defensive asylum. So now that you know why is that we have two places to apply for asylum, now we have to talk about this new fee that the government will start charging as of today. The government has said that as of October 1st, if you want to apply for asylum, either with the Department of Immigration or with the Immigration Court, you need to pay a $100 fee. How do you do that? Well, it's very easy. If you apply for affirmative asylum with the Department of Immigration, you have to go to www.uscis.gov. You need to open a My USCIS account. And within your My USCIS account, you will have to file the Form I-589. At the end of your application, you will be asked if you're ready and willing to pay the $100 fee, and you will be sent to a pay.gov webpage where you will be able to make your payment. That is if you file an affirmative asylum application. If you file a defensive asylum application, you will have to go to the web portal of EOIR, the Executive Office of Immigration Review. So if you go to Google and you type EOIR payment portal, you will be directed to the webpage where you can make your $100 payment. And for that, you will have your A number, your alien number, which is the identification number of every immigrant. And then you will have to select the $100 fee for new asylum applications. Whatever I explained to you right now, it's for anybody who wants to file a new asylum application. Now, what happens with people who have already filed for asylum and who have an asylum application pending? Well, right now, the Department of Immigration has said that if you have a pending asylum application, you need to wait until the government notifies you that it's time to pay your $100 fee, annual fee, and they will give you the link where you have to go to make your payment. So if you have an asylum pending and you haven't paid right now your $100 fee, don't stress. You need to wait for the notification of the government. Just make sure that the government has your current address, your current email address, your current phone number. How do you do that? You go to your myuscis.gov account to make sure that you are in communication with the government. Now, with the EOIR, if your case is with the court, then right now we are still waiting for the EOIR payment portal to be updated so that we can select the $100 payment fee for pending asylum applications. Right now, it's not live, and we are waiting for it. So you have to be patient and wait a little before we have a set way to make these payments. Okay, so that was news number 2. Let's go to news number 3. News number 3 has to do with B1 visas. What are B1 visas? B1 visas are temporary non-immigrant visas for people who want to come to the United States for a small business purpose temporarily. So I don't know if you've noticed, but people who have tourist visas, they have that the tourist visa, it's called B1, B2, B1/B2. B2 is tourist for pleasure, and B1 is tourist with a business purpose. So tourist with a business purpose is a tourist that comes to do something where they don't need a work visa because they're not going to get paid in the United States. They are not going to provide a service specifically to the United States. They're not going to receive payment here. So, for example, if you work for a company that produces some type of machinery and you sell the machine to the United States and you want to come to install the machine, then because you are the only one who knows how to install the machine, then you will use the B1 visa. So it is important for all of us who have family members or friends outside the United States to make sure they know about this B1 visa. If you want to come for any small business purpose, you need to make an appointment at the consulate, and you need to let the consular officer know what is the purpose of your trip. It's not the same as wanting to come just for shopping or to go to a concert or to go visit a family member. No. A B1 visa, it's for a different purpose and should be notified to the consular officer every time the person wants to come to the United States. Very well. We've talked about three different things. Let me tell you more about the immigration news that are important today, October 1st, 2025. The last one that I want to talk about is the government shutdown. The government has shut down. Congress hasn't decided how to approve the budget. And for that reason, the Treasury Department cannot release the money to the different government agencies. But how does it affect immigrants in the United States? Well, this time it really has little or no effect to immigrants in the United States. Why? The Office of Immigration works with the money that the immigrants pay for their different types of processes. So, because the employees of USCIS do not receive money from the Treasury Department, which handles the money of the taxpayers, then nothing has changed in the Department of Immigration. The immigration officers are still working, are still doing what they were doing yesterday. So, if you have a pending process, your case is still pending today, waiting for adjudication. You shouldn't worry about the government shutdown. It doesn't affect any processes at the Department of Immigration. Now, if you have a case in immigration court, the same applies this time. Normally, in prior government shutdowns, all people who were not detained and had their cases with the immigration judge will have their cases suspended because the judges and the trial attorneys wouldn't work in those cases, only on detained cases. But this time, the government has announced that the judges and the trial attorneys are going to continue to work on detained and non-detained cases. There are two types of people in immigration court: those who are in immigration detention centers and those who are in their houses waiting for their appointments to go to the immigration court. Well, both cases for uh, those for those cases for the people who are detained and the cases for the people who are not detained are still valid. The judges are showing up, the trial attorneys are showing up. So if you have an appointment with immigration court, please show up. Do not think that because there is a government shutdown, there will be no hearing. You will have your hearing. Now, what happens with ICE and Border Patrol? Because ICE and Border Patrol are essential to the national security, the government shutdown does not affect them, and they will continue with their operations in a normal way. They have money that it's allocated to them regardless of the federal budget. So as you can see, this time around, the government shutdown has little or no effect to immigrants in the United States or the work of the government against immigrants in the United States. I hope that this set of news was easy to understand for you. If you have any questions, this is the time to do it. I would love to answer your questions in English. If you want to see all of these in Spanish, all you have to do is go to my page, Inmigrando con Katia, in all the social media channels, or you can also go to my webpage, kathiaquiros.com, where you will find a lot of information about the work that I do trying to support and help immigrants in the United States. So let me see if I have any questions here. Let me see. If you like what you're seeing, please share it. Please help me notify everybody that we are live and we are sharing information. Kathy says, do you do habeas? Well, yes, I do habeas, but in Las Vegas, because that's where I'm residing and that's where I can go to court. So if you are in Las Vegas, I may entertain doing a habeas case, but if you are in any other state, please look for a lawyer in your state. Muffins, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Hadi, thank you for following me. Arias Translations, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Nancy, it is so wonderful to see that you care about this topic, that you want to learn about immigration. Please help me share the information. There is so much misinformation outside, and it's hard. It's hard to find the time for me to do these things. I have a show every morning in Spanish at 8:30 in the morning, and it's part of my routine. Finding time to do things in English is much harder for me, but when I do it, I pray that you will share the information so that we can help more people continue their lives in the United States. Hi, Noé Bernal. Silvia Trejo says, you're a blessing. Thank you. Thanks to you. Noé, thanks to you for being here. I wish more people would realize that we are here live, but I thank you for supporting me and for sharing the information. Sarah, you can do your question right now. I will answer you if you write your question right away. Thank you, Nancy Muffins Tiago. It is wonderful that you're here. Says, quick question. How fast can a U.S. citizen marry DACA to get a green card? Well, your question has two parts. Because how fast can you marry a DACA? You can marry tomorrow, and you can file an immigrant visa petition for that spouse immediately. However, will the DACA immigrant obtain a green card through that husband or wife? That the answer is I don't know, because it does not depend on the U.S. citizen spouse. It depends on the specific situation of the immigrant. So let me give you an example. If the immigrant entered undocumented, even though they marry a U.S. citizen, they will not be able to ask for the green card. If the immigrant entered with inspection, then they might be able to ask for the green card. So worrying about time is not the right worry. You need to worry first about if the immigrant has the requirements to ask for the green card in the first place. So I truly recommend that you guys talk to a lawyer in person, because the lawyer will have to ask for a lot of questions before they can give you a straight answer. Let me see. Hello from Virginia. Sergio says, my daughter is a citizen and I want to know if I can fix papers through her. I don't know, Sergio, because as I was saying, I would have to ask a lot of questions before I can know. I know that your daughter can file a petition for you. That there's no doubt about it. But can you obtain the green card with that petition from your daughter? That part I don't know. I will have to ask a lot of questions before I could answer that questions. TPS for Venezuelans. Why are they being arrested by ICE? Sorry, but my friend was just arrested and she has TPS. Okay, so right now there is a lot of violations from ICE. People with TPS, people with DACA, people with asylum pending applications shouldn't be arrested because they have some type of protection from deportation. However, the government is arresting them regardless, just because the government is saying they can have a process pending, but that doesn't make them legal. So they can have a TPS, but that doesn't mean that they are permanent residents. So they think that because a person is not permanent resident, they can arrest them whenever and then decide if they release them or not. So right now, if your friend is detained, run and look for a lawyer in the city where this person is being detained. Bring them the copy of the employment authorization, the TPS approval notice, and have them contact ICE with that information to see if that person can be released. If the person has committed a crime, they won't be released. But if the person is clean, there is a chance they'll let them be released. My husband, it says, thank you. Chicago is very sad right now. It's the worst. It is. I am so very sorry about what's going on in Chicago. It's extremely sad. And all I can tell you is this is a time for all immigrants to be very careful about where we go, where do we mingle with others. It is not the right time to go to places where there is a big immigrant community, or to events. No events, We need to be very careful about our whereabouts and very careful about who do we hang with, because right now there are attacks everywhere. Has DACA has been extended, or is still until 2007? It's 2007. Nothing has changed. This show is in English, so I'm only talking English and I'm answering all in English. I filed an I-929 in June 2023. How long is the wait? I don't know. I will say a year and a half, 2 years. Mia Chimi, how are you? Thank you. Let me see. My husband is arrested. We're asking for cancellation of removal. My daughter has depression. She wants to hurt herself. When somebody asks for cancellation of removal, you have to show that it will be extreme and unusual hardship to your daughter if the father will be deported. And it is really hard to get to the standard of extreme and unusual hardship. And so I am so sorry about what you're going through with your daughter. I pray that her psychiatrist and her psychologist will write reports where they can attest that depriving your daughter of her father would be very detrimental to her psychological health. I pray that a judge will grant the cancellation for your husband. It's extremely hard. Only 1 or 2% of all the applications are approved for cancellation of removal. Let me see what's going on here. More questions. Hello from Springfield, Oregon, says Mariela Escudo. Thank you for having space to give updates in English too. Thanks to you for being here. I wish I could do more. I just don't have the time. And because most of my followers are in Spanish, I do the show in Spanish every day. I wish I could find more time in the day to do this in English too. I just sent my renewal last Monday, but I live in Texas. I still gonna get the work permit or not? Ricardo, most likely no, right? I think you need to move. I think you need to move out of Texas and change your address as soon as you can, because we are expecting that the judge will issue the final order pretty soon, this week or next week, and then we don't know what's going to happen. So move. Noé says, I live in Mexico City. Do I have to be in the US to fix my papers? My son is about to turn 21 next month. No, you don't. Your son can file the petition for you, and you can do consular process, which is the process by which, after your petition is approved, your case is sent to Ciudad Juarez. You submit all the documents that Ciudad Juarez wants to see, and then you are given the green card in Ciudad Juarez, and then you enter the United States with your green card. That process takes 2 to 3 years. So you don't have to do the process here in the United States. Let me see. Can I reopen a deportation in absentia with a U visa bona fide employment authorization? Right now, the judges are not doing it. They are not doing any of it. So I would wait. I would wait until the administration changes, because right now it's really hard. Darren, I'll see you tomorrow or whenever you can.
I'm gonna reboot the server real quick. Is that okay?
5 minutes. I'll be done in 5 minutes.
Okay.
They're gonna have to reboot my computer, so I'm gotta go. But let me answer a couple more questions and then we go. Okay. I granted asylum, so when I apply for green card, should I receive appointment for an interview? Yes, you will. Please look for a lawyer. Don't do it on your own, okay? Don't do it on your own. Right now, no asylee should be applying for adjustment without a lawyer. Is it helpful if I ask for Colorado governor or senator for my case for marriage 2 years? No, not right now. It's not helpful. Why are you talking in English? I don't understand anything. You are in my English page. If you want to understand me in Spanish, you can go to Immigrando con Katia. But right now, you are not in Immigrando con Katia. You are in my English page, Immigration USA with Katia. Do you still encourage attending a master hearing while awaiting asylum? I still encourage attending any hearing because if you don't, you receive a deportation in absentia. So your asylum is pending only because you are going to your hearings. The day you stop going to your hearings, you no longer have an asylum pending. My husband was granted a bond, but DHS appealed. Should I wait for a decision or apply for habeas? You're going to have to, well, I think you can apply for habeas. I would apply for habeas. Go talk to a federal litigator and try to do it. Apply for defensive asylum with USCIS. You cannot apply for defensive asylum with USCIS. You can only apply for defensive asylum at the court. You can apply for affirmative asylum with USCIS. Do I have to work for work permit online or by mail? You can do both, but you have to wait 150 days after you filed before you can apply for employment authorization. Okay, guys, I gotta go. They have to reboot my server. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. And stay tuned. I'm gonna try to post as much as I can in English. I give you my heart. Bye.
Inmigrando con Katia.